Sometimes you come across a way societies organize themselves, and it really makes you stop and think.
Yeah.
And today, we're doing a deep dive into one that's truly fascinating, the Gada system.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. We're looking at the Gadabuursi, the Essa, and the Oromo of Babili.
Communities in the Horn of Africa.
Exactly. And how they've traditionally built their entire social structure around, well, age.
But it's more than just birthdays, right?
Oh, absolutely. What's really striking is that it's not just about the passage of years. It's a meticulously crafted framework
Okay.
where your stage of life dictates your role, your responsibilities, even your standing in the legal system.
And it's not based on 10, like we're used to.
No, that's another fascinating layer. It operates on a base 8 structure.
Base 8, wow. That must shape things quite differently.
It certainly raises questions about, societal rhythms.
Okay, so our mission here is to really unpack that. Understand how this ancient framework defines everything from like childhood chores to major community decisions.
It's a structured progression of duties of authority. It goes way beyond just age milestones.
And you mentioned the name itself, Gadabuursi, gives a clue.
It does, yeah. It hints at this idea of sort of transcending the norms within the system. We'll definitely get back to that.
Okay.
But maybe first, let's lay the groundwork. Let's talk about the actual stages. There are 10 distinct stages in the Gada system.
10 stages, right, each with specific ages and roles.
Exactly. Specific age ranges, clearly defined responsibilities.
So where does this journey begin? What's stage 1?
It starts right at birth with the Gurijog stage. That goes from 0 up to about age 8.
0 to 8, so very young children.
Right. Their main role is basically caretaker for the really young livestock and staying close to home, the homestead.
What kind of skills are they picking up then?
Well, foundational things, basic animal care, just learning by watching, observational skills, and getting a first sense of how the community works.
So learning by doing, right from the very beginning. Interesting how that early practical life might shape things later. Okay, so after Gurijog, up to age 8, what's next? How do things evolve?
Then comes the Golajug stage. That's typically ages 9 to 16.
9 to 16, so older children, young teens.
Yeah, and their responsibilities definitely expand. They're now doing vital work like milking camels and cows.
Contributing directly to the family's food.
Exactly, feeding the family. And they also start surveying grazing areas, so building environmental awareness.
Okay, so a definite step up in contribution. What about other skills during this Golajug phase?
This is where it gets really diverse. Beyond the practical livestock and environment skills, they start learning poetry, proverbs.
Ah, the cultural side.
Very important for oral tradition. And they also get basic combat training, learn tribal history, and even get like an introduction to conflict resolution.
Wow. Okay, that's a broad education. Herding, poetry, history, fighting, peacemaking, all between 9 and 16.
It's quite comprehensive. You see how they're weaving together different strands of knowledge.
Definitely. So as they head towards young adulthood, what's the next step?
That would be the Gashan Kod stage, roughly 16 to 24.
16 to 24.
And the focus here really shifts towards community defense. Acquiring and refining combat skills is key.
Preparing to protect the community.
And this is also the period when individuals get ready for marriage.
Okay, so defense readiness and preparing for family life. Got it. After Gashan Kod.
Then you move into the Gurkhad stage, ages 24 to 32.
24 to 32.
Here, the focus is on managing your own affairs, establishing your own household.
Right, becoming an independent adult member of the community.
Exactly, moving from preparation to active contribution as, settled adults.
Building their own lives, taking on mature responsibilities. So how does their role in the wider community change after that?
Well, that leads nicely into the G-Jug stage, ages 32 to 40.
G-Jug, 32 to 40.
And this is a really significant transition because individuals in this stage start participating in the community's legal system, the Exer.
Exer.
They serve as jurors in the Geed, which literally means the House of Law.
So their first formal role within the legal structure, from living under the law to helping apply it.
Precisely.
What skills are they developing here?
Obviously, legal training is key, but also sharpening those conflict resolution and arbitration skills they were introduced to earlier.
Learning to weigh things up, contribute to judgments.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how that early legal participation shapes their sense of justice, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're gaining experience as jurors. As they get more seasoned, what's next? 40 plus.
From 40 to 48, you have the Garquad stage.
Garquad.
And this marks a step up in their legal role. They move from being jurors to actually making judgments, resolving disputes themselves.
So taking on more direct legal authority.
Yes, greater responsibility in upholding the exer.
Okay. That demands some serious skills, I imagine.
Absolutely. Strong legal authority, sharp decision-making, and the ability to give sound advice. There's a lot of trust placed in them at this point.
Makes sense. Now, we seem to be moving towards what we might think of as elder roles, what follows Garquad.
Next up is the Garad stage, from 48 to 56.
The Garad, 48 to 56.
This signifies a really substantial level of legal expertise. Individuals here become the sole decision makers in complex legal cases.
Sole decision maker. Wow, that's immense responsibility, like a high court judge.
In effect, yes. Acting as a high judicial authority, they need profound legal expertise, independent judgment, often in really tricky situations.
These are the real legal heavyweights of the community then,
Right.
okay, after this key judicial role.
From 56 to 64, we have the Garsor stage.
Cursor.
And the focus shifts here somewhat. It becomes more about preservation and education.
Oh, interesting. How so?
They act as living archives, holding the tribal history, the precedents, the wisdom, and passing it on to younger generations.
So custodians of knowledge and mentors.
But they also continue to serve as judges.
Right, so it's not retirement. It's adding a layer of responsibility, preserving the past while still judging the present. Key skills here must be
Oral history preservation, definitely. Mentoring ability. A deep grasp of, historical context, alongside that ongoing legal skill.
we must be nearing the top of the structure now. What about the gun stage, 64 to 72?
The gun, yes. They hold ultimate authority, particularly in really critical decisions, think wartime strategy.
Ah, the final say when the stakes are highest.
Their accumulated wisdom is considered absolutely vital then. Strategic advising, top-level conflict mediation, decisive leadership in crisis.
The ultimate council of elders, in a way. And finally, for those who live beyond 72, is there a stage after gun?
Yes, the Geb stage.
Yeah.
72 onwards.
Geb.
Individuals here sort of transcend their specific clan. They become spiritual and community elders for all the tribes.
Wow, a universal elder role.
Offering guidance, wisdom, blessings. Their presence is deeply respected across the board.
So the skills are more about spiritual guidance, mediation at the highest level.
Exactly. Conflict mediation honed over a lifetime, spiritual insight, and the authority to give blessings that hold immense weight for the entire community. It's a culmination.
It's truly incredible how this system maps out a whole life, with roles and duties evolving so deliberately, so clearly more than just age brackets. It is their legal system, their cultural framework.
It absolutely is. It dictates power distribution, personal responsibility, governance structure, everything.
And the elders aren't just old people, they are living libraries of law and custom.
Repositories of knowledge, community leaders, spiritual guides. Absolutely. And even things like marriage are woven into it, aligning those age roles with family and society.
It really sounds like the absolute bedrock of their social order. Regulating relationships, upholding laws.
Completely. And that loops us back perfectly to the name Gadabuursi or Gadabuursi.
Right, you said we'd get back to the etymology.
So let's break it down. Gada, we know that now. It's the base 8 system, the legal authority tied to age.
Okay, and Birsay, what does that add?
Birsay means something like one who has transcended or exceeded the standard expectation.
Exceeded? In what way?
Specifically in terms of wisdom and judgment, it implies someone who gained access to the Jid, the House of Law, maybe before the usual age dictated by the system.
Ah, so the name itself. Gadabuursi or Gadabuursi? It doesn't just identify the group, it suggests a characteristic.
Exactly. It points to people recognized, perhaps historically or collectively, for wisdom and leadership that can even sort of outpace the formal structure.
Like being wise beyond their designated years, within the system's own terms.
That's a great way to put it. It shows the society values exceptional insight, leadership, judgment, even if it appears early according to the stages. It's a recognition of inherent quality.
So pulling this all together, the Gada system is, wow, it's profound. A socio-cultural and legal structure governing life from cradle to, well, the Geb stage.
It's way more than age classification. It's governance, dispute resolution, cultural preservation, all rolled into one.
And the name Gadabuursi highlights this idea of people whose wisdom is noteworthy, maybe even transcends those generational norms sometimes.
It really does. It makes you appreciate the sophistication of these traditional governance systems.
Understanding it gives such valuable insight into how social cohesion has been maintained in the Horn of Africa
Yeah.
using these age-based frameworks. It definitely leaves you with something to think about, doesn't it? How might our societies today benefit, even if not with a rigid age system like this,
Right.
but from thinking more deliberately about structured life stages, about defining responsibilities and acknowledging how roles might evolve throughout life?
It's a fascinating question to ponder for sure. A different way of looking at the life cycle and contribution